The King's Avatar Episode 6 and Episode 7 is a perfect blend between PvE and PvP combat, and it's everything I love from MMOs. Episode 6 focuses on clearing a dungeon faster than the best record currently known, and that brings out my inner gamer, because you cannot tell me, as a gamer, you play games or whatever, when you see one of your friends have a high score, a time that they beat this so-and-so mission at, and it's like 7 minutes, don't tell me you haven't thought in your mind, like, I want to beat my friend. I want to beat my friend's high score. I want to just demolish him where he cannot surpass my high score. That's basically how I feel sometimes. When I'm sitting there playing games and I see high scores on leaderboards, or if I'm playing an MMO and I see like a big auction house or whatever, I want to move up in the rankings and stuff. And when I saw episode 6, I'm like, that just brings out my gamer. That brings out what I love doing, competing, always trying to be number one. And I'm like, yo, I like that. That was a really good way to get me into an episode. Now, the big point and conflict of episode 6 is clearing a dungeon faster than another known guild. It's basically like a guild war. Guilds going back and forth trying to beat each other's record and basically say they're on top. They're the better guild. They have the better clear team when it comes to a dungeon slash, boss, raid boss, whatever. Basically, that's kind of what was going on. It was the bragging rights. And they were going back and forth, and our main character, he discovered a new way, a strategy to clear the dungeon in about 16 minutes. And that's ridiculous. That's really fast according to what we know and what he's told us. That's very fast. And someone joined his party that was from his old team, his old pro team, and they were spying on him, trying to figure out a way for they can also do it quicker than he can. So they were kind of stealing information from him, which is to be expected. Stuff like this is always done in video games. It's a constant thing. When someone has a certain trick, let's say someone knows how to bounce a grenade off a wall, and if it bounce over into the spawn and kill someone like right at the start of a match, obviously people are going to want to replicate that. They'll want to do that, and people want to learn this strategy. People look up video clips or whatever. It's a common thing. And so someone sneaking into his group and trying to gather information is something you should expect, especially if you're playing an MMORPG. People want to take knowledge, absorb knowledge from you to be able to do it on their own and bring it to others. And in this case, what really happened though was our main male character was very aware that he was being spied on. Someone from his old team was spying on him and trying to figure out his strategy, but he kept him anyways, regardless, because he knew what he could and couldn't do. He let him see the strategy, but it still didn't matter because he wasn't giving it his all, so he didn't get to see how far they would go and all the different, pieces that the main male character would do to win this actual bragging rights game of who would be on top with their high score. So overall, I do like that of how the main male character was just using his previous teammate as, pro player to his advantage, and then how he still came on top at the end, and he also tilted the man in his match as well, which is freaking hilarious. That was absolutely hilarious because this man, he goes out of his way to spy on our MC, spy on what he's doing, and then he has a match that exact same day. He gets his ass beat, and he's basically tilted because of it, because his mind wasn't on the match. It was more focused on trying to spy on his old team leader, and he got wrecked for it. So that was pretty damn enjoyable, and I feel like the main male character, the way he did that, was probably to do just that. Tilt the man to where he wasn't performing properly when he was doing his actual professional matches. Regardless, though, I do want to talk about the actual strategy he was using. Now, it wasn't explained properly, and I feel like this is the case to where I need to read the light novel, or the original source, so to say, to understand the true concept of what's going on there. Now, I played a lot of RPGs, I've seen a lot of games, and I'm going to assume shoving the mobs into the crack was probably either A, the actual ability to focus on the mobs in the crack and take them down with relative ease because they're in one spot. So if you have, let's say, an AoE ability, you don't have to constantly guess where the enemy's moving around. You can just throw it at this crack and it kills them all at once. That's what I am assuming was happening there, that they were able to focus on one central point to kill all the enemies in the crack. And if it wasn't that, they made it to where the enemies couldn't move. They were basically stuck there and they could just poke at them without taking any damage at all. And that's another thing I was assuming. So it wasn't explained explained properly, but thanks to me playing enough games to seeing glitches and bugs and all that, that's what I'm assuming happened. You know, I'm assuming the main male character was abusing the system, which is to be expected. When you're a professional gamer and all that, and you know things, obviously you're going to know problems with the game and all that, and what you can actually abuse, and that's what, in this case, I think what he was doing. He was abusing the game's mechanics and also the crack in the wall to be able to keep the mob stuck in there where he could do whatever he wanted. So, it was interesting. Episode 6 really got my attention. I really love seeing how the team had so much synergy with each other and how they were able to overcome the obstacle ahead of them and be able to beat the record time. Now, moving into episode, 7, it's more of a PvP episode. For instance, one of the best professional players takes notice of RMC and is like, that's obviously him. He's like, I'm 80% certain that this is the god of this game that retired, and it turns out into a full-blown PvP episode. And I really like seeing this showcase because this is what we're probably going to expect in the future when we get more PvP action and they get into, the professional matches and stuff. That's what it's really going to be focusing on. So seeing how RMC was able to fight off a bunch of players that were coming at him was very entertaining. And I found it interesting how these characters that were attacking RMC, they were becoming crushers. They were like noob crushers. They wanted to completely just destroy a noob. That's what they had going on in their mind. Like, let's just crush a noob. And I will admit, I'm one of those people that do sometimes I did get enjoyment when I was killing noobs in World of Warcraft. I remember going to the starter towns and just blowing up the entire starter town, like killing all the NPCs to where, level 1s and stuff couldn't actually progress. I know, I'm a dick. I'm an asshole. Yes, I understand that. But, I mean, I've done that. I know how that feeling is. So, seeing them rush in thinking they're about to kill a noob, I'm like, I can understand that enjoyment. It's pretty messed up, but I can understand that enjoyment. I feel you. And, basically, when they were going in and they got wrecked for it, that's what was really priceless. Because they got overeager, too cocky, and the MC just started whooping their ass all at once. Like, they couldn't do anything at all while he was just beating their ass and bending them over the table. And, basically, they were professionals as well. They were in training, but they were still considered professionals, and they were just getting destroyed. And I found it very funny at the end of the episode that one of the greatest players, the professional players, is like, okay, this is your boss. You must take down the boss, the world boss. And they're like, what boss? The god of this game, god of glory. And I'm like, yo, the main character is literally considered a world boss. And you know how flattering that would be as a person that plays games. Like, just picture this in your mind. You are someone that is on top of the leaderboards, okay? And you're a fucking excellent player. Like, you just demolish everyone around you. But then all of a sudden, these professionals pop up and say, take this man down. And you basically have everyone looking at you trying to bring you down and all that, and you're just smacking them to the side like they're nothing, like, bitch, get out of here. And that's kind of what was happening, and I'm like, that is epic, because that feeling you get when you're on everybody's site, like, everybody's looking at you, and, like, you're just demolishing people, and they're like, you're a freaking boss. Like, we gotta take this man down. Like, he needs to be focused, he needs to be brought down, this man is too insane, let's do it. And in this way, RMC is able to continue training. He's not able to lose his touch because he is technically fighting professional players. So he's not necessarily going up against complete noobs, but he's still fighting people that are relatively good, so he's able to sharpen his skills a little bit, continue to use PvP to where he doesn't lose his touch, and also the people that are training as well are able to get a lot better because they're fighting someone that's on the top of everyone. So it's a win-win situation for both sides, and I like the way that conclusion of the episode was done. So this is going to complicate matters. How is our MC going to be able to wander around doing what he wants to do when people are coming after his throat 24/7 to bring him down? When an entire professional team is coming after you, that is bad. That's really, really bad. And also, there's only so much you can do. I mean, when you think about it, even if you're the best of the best, okay? You're the #1 player in the world, there's always someone better than you, but also, you can only do so much when you're by yourself fighting like 5 people or 10 people. You can only do so much. No matter how good you are, you're not going to be able to fight overwhelming odds. Not possible. So I wonder how he's going to encounter this and be able to defeat all these people that are going to be coming after him. Is he going to form his own team and try to fight them back? I'm very curious, but overall, an excellent episode of the King's Avatar. Can't wait to see what happens next. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please be safe. Chibi out.